For the first time in post-apartheid South Africa, the justice system has jailed a former president. Running close to the midnight arrest deadline, a convoy delivered Jacob Zuma from his home to the police on Wednesday night. His surrender came after days of refusing to do so, following the Constitutional Court's decision to hand him a 15-month jail sentence for contempt of court. But he also stands accused of corruption during his time in office. It was his repeated refusal to appear before a committee investigating this accusation that led to his imprisonment.
Sending me to jail during the height of a pandemic at my age is the same as sentencing me to death.
Despite his tarnished reputation, Zuma carries substantial weight among officials and grassroots members of the ruling African National Congress Party. Since the announcement of his sentence, his supporters had gathered outside his vast property, renovated at taxpayers' expense during his presidency to the tune of €20 million. He has pleaded with the court to reconsider and rescind its jail order. That challenge will be heard on July the 12th.
Because we are now engaging with the Constitutional Court.
A triumphant return. Military forces displaced from Ethiopia's dissident Tigray region have returned to its capital city. The troops, known as the Tigray Defense Force, marched captured Ethiopian soldiers through the streets of Mekelle as onlookers cheered. The northern Tigray region has been the scene of conflict since November 2020, when Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed sent the army to remove the local ruling party, the Tigray People's Liberation Front, from power. A swift victory remains elusive, but Abiy, the 2019 Nobel Peace Laureate, claims that the retreat from Mekelle was a tactical decision, and continues to boast of his army's strength.
In 1, 2 or 3 weeks, 100,000 trained, armed and organized special forces can be mobilized.
The conflict has already claimed thousands of lives, and more than 400,000 people face famine, according to the UN. The European Union and the United States are asking Ethiopia to guarantee humanitarian access to Tigray. Doctors Without Borders suspended its activities in parts of the region after 3 employees were shot dead in late June. Zambia's founding father, Kenneth Kaunda, was laid to rest at the country's presidential cemetery on Wednesday. Kaunda, who was also a hero of the struggle against white rule in southern Africa, died last month at the age of 97. A week earlier, African leaders paid tribute to the statesman at a memorial service in the capital Lusaka.
Dr. Kenneth Kaunda was a loyal friend of the people of South Africa. He stood by us during our long and bitter struggle against the oppressive apartheid government.
President Edgar Lungu declared Kaunda's birthday, April the 28th, as a national holiday in honour of the country's first president. This is rebel territory. In the east of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, the Rwenzori mountain range is the haunt of more than 100 armed groups. But by far the deadliest and most brutal is the ADF, the innocuously named Allied Democratic Forces. Here in Mutwanga, the local population lives in fear, their houses riddled with bullet holes from past attacks. A few kilometers away, Mwenda is a ghost town. Its inhabitants have fled.
We were
here when the attack took place. That massacre of 22 people made all the locals flee. When we found them dead, their bodies hacked with machetes, we decided to flee.
The attacks most often occur after dark. The brutality churns the blood. Victims decapitated with machetes, their arms tied behind their backs. In November 2019, the Congolese army launched its latest offensive against the ADF in an attempt to drive them from their forest hideouts and vanquish them once and for all.
People have bad memories when it comes to Mwenda because some people lost several family members. The army had to intervene to get the enemy to leave the area because they were here for at least 3 days.
Soldiers patrol the hamlets in the Rwenzori foothills, part of their daily task of securing the area. They also reach out for help from civilian bodies. In Mutwanga, a joint project with the Congolese Institute for Nature Conservation aims to set up a dozen surveillance bases. But predicting the ADF's next move is tricky.
We are ready for all eventualities because we can be attacked at any moment. As you can see, our setup is defensive, so we are able to defend ourselves very quickly if something happens to us. The whole time we are here, we are ready for the possibility of an attack. We can never be sure that the enemy is finished, that they are no longer on the ground.
The ADF started as an Islamist rebel group across the border in Uganda. Today, they operate outside their home country. In the DRC, they are behind more than 6,000 deaths in the Beni region since 2014, according to Congolese Catholic authorities. The ADF's relationship with other jihadist groups is shrouded in mystery. But a change came in 2019. The Islamic State claimed responsibility for some of their attacks.
The war really took us by surprise. We don't understand anything about this war. We don't know if the ADF are killing these people with a purpose or not. The only thing we know is that God has been kind to us, that we can be here together, alive.
President Felix Tshisekedi declared a state of siege in the region 2 months ago, replacing senior civilian officials with army officers. But despite this, and the announcement of additional resources for the army, the security situation continues to deteriorate. No one is sure when the ADF could strike next. On June the 27th, a bomb exploded ahead of Mass in a church, wounding 2 women. A suicide bomber blew himself up outside a bar, a first in the region. ISIS claimed both attacks.